Our project will be going over a Rancho Los Amigos score of 4, presented by Allison, Jacob, and Molly.
So a Rancho Fort traumatic brain injury. The things that you'll notice with these individuals is it's labeled confused agitated because the brain is still waking up from the injury, and it has a lot of difficulty controlling the responses. And so the number one priority is safety because these people have poor memory. They're typically very aggressive. There's yelling, waving arms, hitting, taking out tubes, etc. So you really have to be careful and just have somebody watching them and make sure that their safety is covered. And then they also have short attention. So this is important to keep in mind for therapy because if they get frustrated easily and you're expecting them to remember a ton and expecting them to pay attention for a long period of time, they're going to get frustrated. They're going to start getting violent. So you want to make sure that the tasks that you have them do are quick and easy tasks that they can understand.
So we thought we'd give you a little insight on our patient. His name is Kurt, and he's a 46-year-old male who suffered a traumatic brain injury when he was trying to redo his family's deck and fell off the deck. He is currently considered a Rancho Level 4. Kurt loves all types of sports and values being well-groomed and clean. Kurt has a wife and 2 boys.
These are our assessments.
Our first assessment is going to be the KF-NAP subsets 9 and 10, which is meals and cleaning after meals. This assessment is primarily going to assess neglect. For subtest 9, we will observe Kurt eating a meal or a large snack, assessing his ability to locate items on his tray or plate, not assessing the chewing and swallowing portion of the meal. It'll be scored from 0 to 3, with 0 being no difficulty and 3 only eating and locating from one side of his plate. Subtest 10 will be observing whether Kurt wipes and cleans both sides of his mouth spontaneously during and after a meal. This will also be scored 0 to 3, with 0 cleaning both sides effectively to 3 only wiping one side, with often food left behind.
So another screening we wanted to do was the cognitive screen for grooming. The screen overall was developed to assess cognitive processes in adults. The materials needed for this assessment are toothpaste, toothbrush, dentures if needed, a cup and towel, water, and a sink. So we're going to observe quite a few things with Kurt's ability to do this, including locate and retrieve items for teeth brushing, positioning toothbrush in hand or on the countertop, unwrapping and removing toothbrush from the plastic wrapper, removing cap and applying toothpaste to the toothbrush, brushing teeth on all surfaces, turning water on and off, filling up the cup with water, spitting it, or sips, rinses and spits out the water, rinses the toothbrush and wipes the mouth, and applies dentures if needed and inserts it into the mouth. So then all of these are going to be based on the same scoring system. A 2 is going to be indicating there's a problem, which is requiring 3 or more cues. 1 indicates a potential problem with requiring 1 to 2 cues, and 0 indicates no problem, requiring 0 cues.
Okay, so now on to our more informal assessments. So first we want to do a quick orientation screening. We feel this is good to do with anyone, and because it's quick and the questions are pretty simple, he should be able to understand. So want to make sure he's oriented to person, so if he knows who he is. So what is your name? Oriented to time, what day is it? Oh, skipped ahead. Oriented to time, what day is it? And then oriented to place, where are we right now? So if he knows he's in the hospital, and basic idea of what's going on. So yeah, just quick, simple, easy to understand. And it also gives us an idea of his current mood and temperament. If he's like not willing to answer these questions, then we know that maybe therapy isn't a good idea that day. And then for our range of motion screening, basically because Kurt is into sports, we wanted to tie in the range of motion screening to sports movements so that he might be more compliant and more motivated, and we're less likely to get that angry reaction. So it's a basic range of motion screening, like throw the ball for the extension of the elbow, or catch the ball, and we're just going to notice his movements and if he can move through the same range of motion, and do that with a lot of different sports references. Yeah, just a quick and easy way of determining active range of motion and tied to an enjoy activity to decrease that agitation and confusion. and then our interventions.
So one intervention we're going to do with Kurt is memory practice using various sports teams. Since Kurt is very interested in sports, we felt like this was something to keep his attention increased while keeping that agitation at bay. In order to do this, we're going to show Kurt a photo of the logo for a professional sports team. Then we'll ask Kurt to recall both the name of the team and the sport the team relates to. This is going to address long-term memory, recall, attention, and visual/visual perception.
Next, we had the idea of playing golf, but with pool noodles and then like a softer ball. We're doing this because Kurt does love golf, and this is an activity that can be advanced if needed, but we were planning on having him stay seated in his wheelchair, and we were going to use a pool noodle to hit a ball into a cup. So this is going to address his fine motor. So we'll have him place the ball into a tee, and then we will set it down on the floor for him, gripping the pool noodle, and then gross motor, swinging the pool noodle using his elbow, shoulder, and trunk, and then core stability. This uses quite a bit of core stability as he has to be able to push the ball using his trunk, and then attention, sustaining attention while getting the ball to the hole, and then vision.
And then finally, our last intervention would be a pitching simulation with Velcro balls. So again, he's really into sports, really into baseball. So we'd hang a Velcro mat with a square mounted on the wall, similar to the one you see depicted below, about 4 to 5 feet above the ground. And then Kurt will be seated in a wheelchair about 6 feet from the wall. And basically, he'll be given a Velcro ball and asked to pitch the ball at the Velcro mat. And then Kurt will then be asked what kind of pitch he threw, a strike, a ball, etc. And so this addresses gross motor functioning at the shoulder and trunk muscles as he pitches the ball, range of motion at the shoulder, elbow, and wrist, fine motor control and grasp at the fingers, his vision if he can pitch accurately towards the square on the wall, or if he's having trouble, or if we notice him only pitching to one side. Again, that's just an idea of what his neglect is. And then it also helps address cognitive, because if we're asking him to remember the different kinds of pitches and to pay attention, it can help increase his memory, attention, and sequencing as he has to go through each of these. And then also the goal of all of these is that they're great because they're one, motivating, and two, they could be as short as we want them to. So we can have him do 2 reps, we can have him do 5 reps. And that way we can just cut it off if he's getting frustrated or we're losing his attention. These are our references. Thank you very much.